Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back for another video on the jet ski. We're going to be getting the top end ready to put on the bottom end of the motor. So right now I want to show you guys before I get started. I'm checking my cylinder ring gap on all three cylinders. You'll stick the ring in there. You can see the gap right here. Hopefully you guys can see that, the little gap. I'll take and feel it, the feeler gauge. This one's about 18 thousandths. I believe spec is 14 to 18 thousandths. I do got one that's a little bit bigger. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a little bit bigger rings or not. You don't want too tight of a gap. When it gets hot, it'll lock the motor up on a two-stroke. You don't want that. Well, I got the last cylinder cleaning still. I am going to take and oil these down before we put the pistons in them. So with that being said, I do have a brand new set of WSM pistons. And I got Winderosa seals for the motor, brand new rings, and I'll show you how we go about this process. So let me check the ring gap on that last cylinder, and we'll get started. I did want to show you, I did take and check all the cylinders. They're 69.75 on these. You can see, it lays in there. Got to get laying in there right. It's a cheap gauge. So these are standard diameter bore on these. So on my pistons I got right here. These are the rings, 69.75. So we're good to go on that. As I rechecked my cylinder ring end gap on these, and I'm sitting right around 26 thousandths, give or take. I believe in the manual I think it stated up to 18 thousandths is acceptable, but I'm going to run with it and see what happens. I couldn't really find much online. I might go back on my computer and double check the manual. You don't want them too tight, obviously. You wind up locking them up in the cylinder. If they are too tight, you got to take a file and open them up. So being too loose, it might have blow by. It might be alright. I'm not really sure. Like I said, there's not a lot of information. I know there is a chart to convert it. So you'd go 69.75 millimeters, and you'd convert that to inches, which is like 2.74, and then you would times that by 0.004, and that gives you like 10 thousandths. But I believe that's more or less for a 4-stroke motor, not a 2-stroke. I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments. So like I said, I might double check that manual, but as you can see, these cylinders cleaned up super nice. So let's start getting this thing together, guys. I'm going to get these wrist pin bearings soaking in oil after I clean them out. I did notice, I thought the new pistons came with these. They didn't, so it's kind of disappointing, but I'm just going to blow these out, and I'm going to get my 2-stroke oil right here and a little pan, and I'm going to start soaking these, and we'll get the block over here. What I'm going to do is take these wrist pin bearings, and I'm just going to take brake clean. I'm going to clean them out. Make sure there's no metal, no debris in them. Check the cage on them. Make sure none of the balls are loose. I'm really disappointed. I could have swore I ordered new ones. Oh, I got boxes everywhere. They might be here. I got to take a quick look. So, get these cleaned up really nice. Let me look them over close, get my glasses on, and I'll show you we'll soak them. I did find a good use for all the Bud Light and all the other beers I've been drinking doing this project. I don't really have much opinion on that whole thing, guys. You know, I want to keep the channel out of political crap like that, you know. You guys use your own opinion, whatever. I'm not here to sit there and judge back and forth. Alright, it's 2-cycle. Outboard oil is all I'm using for this. I'll leave them in the oil, let them soak while we get the block and everything up here. So, like I said, at least I found a good use for a Bud Light can. But, really, it could have been a bush or anything, if you ask me. Guys, before I install these rings, there's a little thing I kind of learned. Well, it's hearsay, but there's a coating on the outside of these rings. And if you just gently take a piece of Scotch-Brite and just, not crazy, just a little bit, just scuff up the outside surface a tiny bit, it'll help on your break-in. You can see I'm just doing a little bit because that coating is not quite level. is the theory behind this. So like I said, I'll just go a little bit. I don't know, it's just something I come across on the internet years ago, and kind of something that I've done, and it's never done me wrong. So just something I wanted to show you. Now let's get the rings on the piston. I'll show you how I do it. Alright guys, on my rings, there's a RN on the top of these. And I'm not really 100% sure. WSM didn't provide me any info on installation. I really don't like that, but I took my magnifying glass and it looks like both sides of these are beveled, these rings. So now if this is not correct, I'm going to call them on Monday. If this is not correct, I'll stop the video right here and I'll put a thing in here. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to put the RN that's on this ring facing to the top of the dome, top of the piston. Also, you'll see these little marks here. Your arrows are going to go, you got the marks that are going to hold the rings into position when they're squeezed into the cylinder. They're like little pins. And the point on top, the arrow, is going to go towards your flywheel. So I already got the one on. I have in the past. Sometimes I'll take a feeler gauge and I'll slip it in here and I'll just work it right around. These aren't too bad. Slip them right on like that. Boom. So let me get the other two done. I slipped the bottom one from the top down. Wasn't bad. You know, you guys can figure that out. If you're this far into a project, I know you're pretty damn mechanical. So like I said, if I find out any different information on this, I'll put it right here in the video for you guys. And then I'll show you after. Let me get those three ringed up. Just what everybody wants, a ring. And we'll go from there. This is what I was talking about. If I get a piston ring that's hard to get down to the bottom there, I'll take a feeler gauge, I'll slip it in, and I'll just roll it right around, guys. And you see, just like that, boom, it's in. It's a little trick I learned when I worked in a small engine shop. Alright guys, I was going to take a 1/4 inch threaded rod with a socket and washers, blah blah blah, to get this wrist pin in here. But on these new pistons, it feels like this is going to slide right in for me, which is cool. On the last one, I rebuilt. I used used pistons. I was young, didn't have a lot of money at the time. I still don't have a lot of money, unless you guys think I do, but I don't. So anyway, we might be able to get away without building that. If I do build it, I'll show you guys. Don't worry, easy. So, I got my wrist pin bearings. Been soaking in Earl. I like to call it Earl. Now if them are sitting in the, I'll put them in. I'll put one pin, one clip right here in this side, and I'll feed my wrist pin through and I'll clip the other side. Now, let me show you something that's really important here. Well, one of two things. First thing, it's not, well, it's important, I guess. I took a little oil in this can. I gave a little squirt, tiny squirt, on these holes in this case right here. These holes lubricate your bearings. So now it's assembled. I wanted to give a little extra oil just for startup. Now, the most important thing here, if you don't want to have to do this all again, take yourself shop cloth. Paper towel is probably not a great idea because it'll flake off. Or really clean rags, brand new rags I should say, and pack rags down in here. You're going to wind up dropping one of these C-clips and you'll be pissed off trying to get it out of there, or you'll be splitting the case back open. Been there, done that many moons ago. So anyway, let's keep it rolling. Let's not make it boring. I chose to use brand new rags for this. I went in the house and I went in the old lady's cabinet there and took the brand new rags we have for the shower. No, I'm kidding. I didn't take them from there, but I did take them from her. She used to own a cleaning business, so we got brand new rags every which direction you look in the house. She no longer does that. So we'll pack everything full. So we're not digging clips out of the bottom of this crankcase. Been there, done that. I already told you guys. So alright, that being said, let me get the clip in here. Probably use needle nose to work it in. It's been a long time. Let me see. Give me a minute. What I'm going to do with the wrist pin clip, so I'm going to get it started right in here. And then I'm going to take, usually got long nails, I'm going to push it up with some needle nose, not bend it, just push it up. and she'll snap right in for you. You hear her snap and open up. Guys, I'm doing my wrist pin clip openings at the 6 o'clock position. I'm with the opening down at the bottom. It's just my opinion. So I got the back side started in there. You can see in the hole. I use my fingernails. Then I'll take my needle nose and I'll slip it back. Boom. There you go. I was going to rotate these. They won't rotate. On some of the other ones I worked on, you can snap it in over here and rotate it. They won't on these, so let me get that side clipped in so then we can get the pins in. Now that I got my wrist pin bearing in, did a little shot of oil in there, a little hole in the top. Arrows are going to face your flywheel. I know I already said that. It's like this, guys. It's your wrist pin. Slip it in. Line it up. To get it lined up, she should slip right in. I may be making that tool I talked about. Nope. Nope. They slid right in really nice. Wow. Okay. Same thing. We're going to go 6 o'clock position on the clip. Now you see I got the crankcase all covered up with rags. That's because if this clip takes off flying, it's going right for the bottom of your crankcase. Or across the garage, you'll never find it. Like I said, when I was getting these ready to put in, I'll get them started, and a lot of times I'll just use my fingernails to get them ready. I know it's hard to see, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to try to do it best I can so you can see. Might need my vice grips or my needle nose for this one. This can be a little bit of a challenge, you know, you got to work at them. Just watch so they don't take off flying on you like that. Let me go get it. Alright guys, steady working at it. I was able to get her in there. Now you push her in and you'll feel it snap. You'll hear it snap too. And that's it. So, like I said, arrows towards flywheel. Got the wrist pin bearings right here. Rotate this crank over. Bring the next one up. Slip it in. Nice and greasy. Give her a little pump there, even though she's nice and greasy. Turn her a little bit. And let's get the next one on. Same thing. Let me open up the wrist pin, slip it in this way, line it up, just like that, and then we'll get our C-clip in this one, and I'm going to do this one the same way. Like I said, I'm going at 6 o'clock position on these. It's just my opinion. So, see if we can get this one in on camera. I've been struggling with these a little bit today, guys. I do apologize. I always like to keep my finger there close. There we go. Boom, just like that. Snapped in. I'll make sure it's in the groove all the way around. Make sure it's in your groove. You do not want that coming out when this motor's running. That's a catastrophic kaboom failure. Alright, I know what you guys are thinking. Mr. SRX, what the hell are you doing with that exhaust manifold on there? I'm just going to put one bolt in each cylinder, or each jug. No gasket or nothing, don't torque it, just set it in there. And what that's going to do is that's going to line up our cylinders, our spacing. So when we bolt this on, it's not a pain in the ass. We're going to go 26 foot-pounds on the base bolts, 22 foot-pounds on the head. Let me do the base bolts off camera, I'll show you dropping the head gaskets on. Now that those are torqued to 26 foot-pounds, go ahead, back my exhaust out of here. Like I said, I didn't go tight on these. There's no gasket. You'll wind up tearing up the surfaces. Just good enough. So now that'll line up nice and good for me. Just a little trick for you guys. Don't have to do it. Do what you want. Something I like to do. Alright. Now, wipe all the oil off these cylinder heads with a clean rag. And let's get our heads on. And I'll show you, I'm going to cut the video, guys. It's boring. We'll drop the head gasket on, duh. And set the head on. I'll show you the orientation on the head. And we'll torque them down to 22 foot-pounds. And we're going to call this a video, guys. Oh, I am also going to put the starter in on the video. Pretty simple, self-explanatory. I'll show you at the end. I wanted to mention on your cylinder base nuts, blue Loctite. I got to pull those off and Loctite them. This is the orientation per the manual. Right here. 4/96 on the manual. Gotta make sure these head gaskets are right. The UP is on the intake side. This tab is like this on the exhaust side on all these. You'll overheat this damn thing. I know I made this mistake as a kid. So you gotta make sure, and don't put 780 gaskets on here, guys, unless you're using 780 cylinders. So I'm pretty sure, I'm almost damn sure that's the direction. Don't go off this video and blow your stuff up and blame me, but almost positive. I went on my computer, the schematic's way better, that's it. So the computer's telling me 18 foot-pounds, not 22. So we're gonna do that, blue Loctite, get the heads on, I'll show you. Alright, with these heads, since this motor I assume got ran hot, you want to take a straight edge across there. See if you see any gaps. Several different spots. Make sure these heads aren't warped. This is the orientation, just like this. So we'll get them on. One thing I did want to mention in this video, number one is your, these are labeled 1, 2, 3, they're all the same heads. Number one is your flywheel. I clean these up really good, my ultrasonic cleaner. Scotch Brite's your friend. There's a little rough spot on this one. I'll probably sand out or clean up with a file. You can see these got rings smashed into them, but they should be alright as long as they're not warped. It's the most important part. If they're warped, your head gasket won't seal. So let me get that cleaned up. Oh, also these chrome bolts you see, these are off a 780. So if you want to do chrome or chrome nuts, get them off a 780. 18 foot-pounds, blue Loctite on your head bolts, crisscross pattern. Show you when it's on. The chrome nuts I was talking about, I got them on eBay. I think it takes 18 of them for the heads. Get those on, and let's wrap this video up. Guys, I really like this Loctite 248 in this little tube. Guy at work turned me onto this. He's a pretty damn smart guy when it comes to motors. So I just put a little dab on there. Each cylinder head bolt, or stud I should say. Just a little bit. It's nice. I love this stuff. I've been using it on the SRX. So, sorry guys, I know kind of making it quick. I'm getting tired. I'm getting ready to go to bed. I work at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I try to get to bed at a decent time on Sundays. So alright, let's get these torqued down to 18 foot-pounds, crisscross pattern. I'll use my little blue, or my little yellow paint pen to mark them as I torque them. And I'll show you when they're all torqued, guys. Alright, we're on the last head. Like I said, crisscross pattern. I was going to mark these. I'll just go over them twice. Should anyway. It's always good to do that. Like I said, the manual calls for 18 foot-pounds. I thought it was 22 earlier. Now I'll just hit them twice. Use my belly to hold the motor. There you have it, guys. We're going to wrap up this video. I was going to put the starter in. I want to say thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to get this motor in. I'm going to show you how to fix some fiberglass on the hull. And we'll put the rest of this motor together on the next video. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe, please.